Hey everybody, we're back. Joel Goldberg, Casey Wright, Chief of Staff, Kansas City, and we really enjoyed everybody tuning in last month. So we're going to do this monthly, come up with some different lessons learned, some different topics. And it's interesting, on my podcast this month, to celebrate Black History Month, every guest is African American. And of course, the timing of the Super Bowl, of course you're wearing red still, but the timing of the Super Bowl, two black quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, which in many ways is so great that happens in February, but at the same time, such a disappointment in 2023 that we're talking about that so much. To me, Casey, the beauty after the fact, all the attention that got for better and worse, after the fact, all we're talking about is two amazing quarterbacks that were incredibly dominant. And I think, when you think about Super Bowls, there's always one great quarterback performance, usually. This was a phenomenal performance by two superstars.
Absolutely. I mean, they were clearly, indisputably, the two best players on the field, both of them. Hopefully we won't have to talk about this again because they've paved the way and they're dominant, start to finish. They are the best players.
One of the things that I thought we could talk about today, and you know that I love, and you do this too, to take sports and apply it to the business world, the real world. And I think that it works all the time. Certainly I do that with baseball and my speaking. But think about the lessons learned from the Super Bowl. Let's start with this. Patrick Mahomes had one of the greatest performances on essentially one leg. And think about how rarely any of us are at 100%. How often is the gas tank full for any of us when we go to work every day? And I sit there and I think, maybe we can learn a lesson. There's always room to dig down a little bit deeper.
For sure. I can tell you, I've been running on fumes the last few weeks. I've had two sick children that have been waking us up in the middle of the night. We've unfortunately had a couple of people here that, no fault of their own, have been in car accidents, so they've been out. We've been dealing with several illnesses, and we got to pick up and carry our teammates. No one's ever 100%, but it's how you overcome it.
Yeah, and I think about, and this will get a little bit off track, but it's worth pointing out that when you talk about picking up teammates, I think back to Chad Henne. He wasn't mentioned a whole lot, just retired right after the game. And we might have seen him, we didn't. But think back to the Jacksonville game where he's just in there for a little bit. And what I thought about from a leadership standpoint in teams is that he came in there and kept things going. He didn't have to be the same. Something about those backups and roles that matter in every organization.
Next man up. You hear that all the time in sports, but it's true in the business world too. Someone's going to be out. Someone's out for vacation. Someone's out for a health issue. You got to have teammates that you can rely on to pick you up when you need the help.
All right, last lesson learned, and there are many others too. The challenge of staying on top when you're the top dog. When you are on top, you don't stay on top by just mailing it in or just by, hey, we're better than everyone else. We see that in the job market all the time.
Absolutely. You got to constantly reinvent yourself. You have to pivot when it's time to pivot. What worked 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, probably isn't the same now. And you see the Chiefs do it all the time. I mean, they got new plays coming out. Travis Kelce gives respect to Andy Reid all the time. He said he wouldn't be half the player he is if it weren't for Andy dialing up new plays all the time. We're dialing up new plays in the business world every day, too.
The only thing that doesn't change with Andy Reid, cheeseburgers.
The cheeseburgers, that's
Which,
right.
You and I appreciate that as well. But more importantly, he's an innovator. He's coming up with new things. We saw it in the Super Bowl. And how about those Chiefs?
How about those Chiefs?
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next month.